When I think about bow hunting the rut, visions of grunting and chasing whitetails are the first that come to mind. But soon these rutting deer are replaced by a crazed bull moose walking into bow range. And how can I forget the roaring red stags of New Zealand and the bugling Rocky Mountain elk? Or the sound of a rutting impala ram racing through the veld, grunting with every leap. I remember a woodland caribou bull, hypnotized with love and grunting with every step as he walked into handshaking distance. There's no doubt that the rut is a magical time to be bow hunting. But here on this mountain, my image of the rut has changed forever. Because on this magic mountain of Bulgaria, rutting wild fallow bucks gather. Hundreds of bucks, chasing, grunting, and croaking. I'm Tom Miranda, and from now on, the rutting fallow of the Balkans is how I define the rut.
Deep in the mountains of Eastern Europe, there are caves lined with the bones of Neanderthal man. Caverns which hide some of the most ancient histories and legends of the old world. Archaic temples still stand, worn from eons of weather and wind. And burial sites littered with stone carvings of spacemen and creatures that look not from this earth. These mountains have always been mysterious. The remote peaks were named in the mythology of the Greeks and woven through the tales of gods fighting over land and lovers. Known today as the Balkan Mountains, their allure is magnetic and seemingly supernatural.
Well, the sun's just coming up this morning and we're headed out. This is going to be a real treat. Coming to Bulgaria, we're headed up the mountain for a fallow deer hunt. Just a perfect time too. Mid-October in the rut. These fallow deer start rutting. It's a unique experience because they use these giant rut pits. They come from miles around to get to these one set of mountains where they can rut. They all get together, and they're talking about having 20, 30 different stags grunting and croaking and roaring all together. It's just pretty amazing. We'll see what happens.
Likely the most underrated game animal found in Eurasia, the fallow deer runs free in most areas of its range. With its unique palmated antlers and dense winter coat, the European fallow was an important source of food, clothing, and tools for prehistoric man, dating back at least 17,000 years. Male fallow bucks are much larger than the females. This trait, known as sexual dimorphism, is thought to be a phenomenon that evolved over thousands of years and likely results from the fact that most successful mating of the species occurred between large males with a dominant rank in the herd, as well as the obvious female preference for larger, stronger males. The fallow bucks of the Balkans migrate into the mountains during the summer, as large female groups raise their young in the lowlands. As fall approaches, these buck begin to move back into the female's range to gather at historical rut pits. Their grunting calls attract the females into these pits, where breeding competition is keen. It's the October rutting season, and the male fallow have migrated from the remote mountains to locate bands of female fallow deer in estrus.
Now we came to another side of the mountain, a little bit more trees this morning. Got some overcast skies, it might rain, it might clear up, you never know. It's cool. We're gonna try to stay in the trees. These things are pretty spooky, but this has been a really exciting hunt. This roaring and croaking that these things do is just amazing. Let's go. You know, I haven't done a lot of fallow deer hunting. A fallow deer is kind of an interesting deer species. I mean, it has a palmated antler, you know, very similar to a moose in one way or another. And I never realized how much that these things rut, and they rut so strong. You think a lot about elk hunting or red deer hunting or the whitetail rut, but this is a whole new ball game. This is a whole new excitement in a whole new place. You know, just to be in the woods in the morning and hear these things croaking and grunting all around, and to see 2, 3, 10, 20 different nice shooter bucks all grunting and wanting to run these females around, it's just so exciting. It's unreal. I'm having the time of my life here. This might be the funnest hunt I've ever been on, as far as seeing animals, opportunities, the true rut, chasing, fighting. It's just all here.
I think one of the unique things about the outdoors is that every time you go out there, you learn something. You learn something about nature, you learn something about yourself. You see something that you haven't seen before. You might see 100 sunrises in 100 days, and I promise you, almost all of them will be different. You're gonna hear something, see something, smell something that you've never seen before, or smelled or heard before every day. Bow hunting in particular is a learning experience every day. You make a bad stalk, you learn a lesson. You roll a rock and spook an animal, you learn a lesson. You knock an arrow and it falls off the rest, you learn a lesson. You make a bad shot, you learn a lesson. So there are a lot of things that you do day to day as a bow hunter that help to mold you and make you more experienced. And that's one of the things too. Bow hunting is a patient sport, and you have to have patience. And as a young hunter, many times you don't have the patience, but as you get older, you get more and more patient. We've got 7 different fallow deer around us, croaking and roaring and grunting. The one out in front of me is 72 yards. It's just a little far to shoot. This is unbelievable.
When it comes to bow hunting, patience is everything. And sometimes on a traveling hunt, when you've only got so many days, it's hard to be patient because you want to have success, you want to get your animal, and so you try to make it happen. One of my philosophies is that animals have 4 legs and I only have 2, so I'm going to want to get into a position to let the animal close the distance to me. I'm going to set myself up in a situation where the animal will walk himself into range. So I want to be stealth, I want to be hidden, I want to make sure that the wind is right for the trail or the path that that animal's coming on, and I'm going to let him walk into range for me.
Yes, Bulgaria fallow buck. I slipped down to this rut pit. I could hear these stags in here grunting and croaking, and I could see them from up top. They've been fighting down here, but we finally got a good wind and we was able to slip down this rock face down into position. These things are pretty spooky. I mean, if they see you, even though it looks like they're rutting and they're croaking, they turn and they walk off or they run off. But I got down in a spot where they didn't know I was in, and sure enough, two stags start working towards me, closer, closer, closer. They start to tee it off. This one moves a little bit away and starts to paw scrape. I shot him for 54 yards and he went down right there. What a fantastic hunt. I've never, ever had this kind of rutting action before. And what a place. Let's go see him. There's my arrow. You can see two-blade Rage Extreme, soaked in blood, perfect pass through, all the way through. Just does such mean damage. 54 yards, arrow passed through him right there. He's laying right over here on the edge. Right now, these animals are in such a rut, they don't even care that we're out here. They're rutting all around us, running and grunting and groaning and croaking. He didn't go too far either. Talk about a crazy shot and a beautiful, beautiful fallow deer. Look at this. Look at this. I'll tell you, it's really exciting when they're in the rut, and you have a lot of opportunities because there's just so many of them, and they're easy to pinpoint because you can hear them croaking and growling and grunting miles away. You get up in some of these hilltops and along these ridges and down below in some of these valleys, you've got just groups of them in these rut pits. And if you can get down there without being seen and keep the wind right, because they are real sensitive to the wind, eventually you're going to get an opportunity. And that's exactly what we had here. Just great palmation, nice and wide, good fronts. Just an exciting hunt. You know, it's really, when you come all the way to Bulgaria to do a hunt, I mean, it's just great to be here. I love bow hunting, and this is why. Matthews Triax, getting her done.